Hey guys, this is lesson 11.6 for course 2. 11.6, you need to title this in your notebook, is called Using Data to Persuade. So why do I need to learn this? So for lesson 11.6, they're going to look at a lot of different graphs. And it says a graph can be a powerful way to present data. How you draw a graph can affect the impression you give the data. So if you look at this graph, just look at it, it's quite misleading. And it is misleading because it starts at 25 and then it leads you to believe that 4th grade students spend almost no time on homework. When really the truth is they spend about 28 minutes, which is quite a bit. But they want it to look really little and they want 7th grade to look huge. So this graph is quite misleading. If we were to redraw the graph, there's 2 different ways you can do it. So this first way, you're going to start your vertical axis at 0 and go by equal intervals the whole way up. Therefore, I can see, oh, 4th grade's quite big, and then 5th grade gets a little bit bigger, and 6th grade gets bigger, and 7th grade gets bigger. It's a natural progression, which is supposed to happen. And really, the difference here from 28 to 50 is only 12 minutes, or no, 22 minutes. It's not a huge, big difference like the other graph showed. So this one, they use, it's called a break in the vertical scale. This is a break right here, and it looks like a little lightning bolt. And it kind of just tips the viewer to say, hey, this is not starting at the right spot. It's not starting at 0. So make sure you take that into effect when you're reading the graph. So that is 2 ways that you could do this. So if I were to go back to this original graph, if they were to have drawn a break in there, then we would have known, oh, this starts at 25. So that kind of triggers me to think this isn't completely accurate. So here's misleading intervals. Marketers use the graph below to show investors that annual profits increase steadily. Explain why the graph is misleading. So take a minute, jot down in a sentence why this graph is misleading. So if you look at it, this graph is misleading because the intervals on the bottom do not go up evenly. They're going by 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. So right now, it took from this time, it took 5 years for that to grow. This time, it took 10 years for it to grow. And this time, it took 15 years for it to grow. So it really is not increasing steadily. It's slowing way down because it only took 5 years to grow the first time, and then the last time it took 30. So it is not increasing steadily. So it says, redraw the graph in example 2 and use even intervals. So jot this down, redraw it, and use even intervals. So if I were to do this correctly, you should have down here, we can still use 1, 2, and 3 because those are even. They're going up by the same amount each time. Here I'm going to do 5, and then I'm going to do 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5 is 1, 15 is 2, 30 is 3. So now when I look at this graph, it shows me, well, from here to here is not nearly the same. It's slowing down. What I'm looking for, my money increase, is slowing down. It's taking a lot longer to get a $100,000 increase. So, in this section, we're also going to look at mean, median, and mode of data to inform our decisions. So, you will be given these in a foldable, so you don't need to copy them down. However, I want you to use them right now. So this says, you survey students in your class to find the number of pets per student. The results are shown. You want to convince your parents to let you have 4 pets. So there's our thing that we want to do. Which measure of the data should you use? So should I use the mean, the median, the mode, or the range? And here is our data. So take a minute, find each of those, and then figure out which one we should use. Okay, so the median is the one that occurs the most, which is, or the mode is the one that occurs the most, which is a 1. The median is the number in the middle. So the one that's directly in the middle is a 1. And then if I add these all up and divide, I get the mean, which is 4. And my range is 27 minus 0, which is 27. Now, when I look at these numbers, I can say, well, this range is ridiculous. It's 27. I'm not going to use it to convince my parents to let me have 4 pets because that's probably somebody with fish or something that have a ton of animals or a farm. And that is just not the normal of my class. So I'm getting rid of this because my parents are just going to laugh at me and say that's ridiculous and not even listen to me. So if I wanted to use mode and median, that really wouldn't help my case because those both are at 1. So if I use mode to convince my parents, they'd say, no, I just want to have 1. Or if I use median, they'd say, I just want to have 1. So the one that I want to use is the mean because it goes right with what I'm going to use to convince my parents. Now, this is a little bit skewed. The mean is skewed because of these 2 numbers. Now, I don't know if you remember, but these 2 numbers have a specific name, and they are called outliers. So you want to jot this down. An outlier or outliers are values in the data that are way higher or lower than the big group. So you're not going to use those because, like I said before, those are people with fish or people with farms that just aren't, it's not an everyday thing. You don't walk around to all your friends' house and they have 27 pets. That's just not normal. So, oh yeah, it wouldn't be a farm because they're pets. So yeah, these are called outliers. And if I took those out, I'm guessing that my mean would change. It would go down to like 2 or 3. And it would be more accurate. But they're there so you can use them. But that is it for your notes. Come prepared with mean, median, mode, and remember what those are because we are going to use them.